June 29th, 2025. The Black Sea was calm. No waves, no winds. But beneath its stillness, 6 Russian military ferries were gliding quietly through the water, loaded with destruction. On board, more than 380 elite Russian soldiers, 24 armored personnel carriers, and several tons of ammunition. Their mission was clear: a covert landing to flank Ukraine's southern defenses under the cover of darkness. No satellites had spotted them. No radar had pinged them. To the Russian High Command, this was the perfect operation. Silent, precise, invisible. But they were wrong. They were being watched. 6,000 meters above the sea, hidden in the cold layers of the upper atmosphere, a Ukrainian PD-2 reconnaissance drone floated in complete silence. It didn't carry any weapons. It wasn't built for combat, but what it had was vision. Equipped with advanced thermal imaging and upgraded data transmission, it began sending out a stream of encrypted signals. Every 10 seconds, a snapshot. GPS coordinates, thermal outlines, movement logs. It tracked 6 distinct heat signatures, each moving in tight formation. Engines warm, bodies packed on board, weapons locked and loaded. The data fed directly into a secure war room deep beneath Kiev. There at 3:16 a.m., General Anatoly Vashchenko, commander of Ukraine's Southern Operational Group, stared at the screen. The enemy was exactly where he feared they'd be, heading for a quiet, swampy inlet near the river delta. A radar blind spot, a weak point in Ukraine's coastal defenses. Around him, officers waited for the order to fire, but the general raised his hand and said firmly, "Not yet." Instead, he pointed to a narrow stretch of water surrounded by steep ridgelines, a natural sound trap. In this zone, noise from outside was muffled, while inside, everything echoed back inward. It was the perfect kill box. "We wait 7 minutes," he said. "They won't hear the missiles coming." And so, Ukraine prepared a trap. 3 Burovy MLRS launchers, hidden in wheat fields, locked onto the target zone. A Ram-2 kamikaze drone was scrambled from a nearby airstrip. 2 Neptune cruise missiles were quietly rolled out from camouflage-covered mobile launchers, their targeting systems already synced. No fighter jets, no flashy airstrikes, just simple, brutal precision. The kind of war that doesn't need noise to be effective. At exactly 4:42 a.m., the Russian ferries entered the kill zone. Still in tight formation, spaced 40 meters apart, they were now just seconds from death. At 4:42 and 13 seconds, one word was transmitted from Kiev: "Execute!" A rain of fire erupted from the sky. First came the MLRS rockets. Over 80 of them, each carrying a high-explosive fragmentation warhead, screaming through the darkness before slamming into the water. The explosions tore through the ferries, blasting holes into their hulls and shredding the decks. Seconds later, the Ram-2 drone dived from above, slamming into the command vessel's bridge and detonating its warhead deep inside. Ammunition stored below cooked off, sending shockwaves through the convoy. And then, the final blow. 2 Neptune cruise missiles, flying just 15 feet above the water, locked onto the heat signatures of the ferry engines. One struck the command vessel dead center. The other slammed into a ferry carrying fuel reserves. The inlet exploded into flame. The Black Sea, moments ago quiet and calm, now burned like a furnace. Russian soldiers jumped overboard, only to be consumed by fire, shrapnel, or freezing waves. In under 150 seconds, it was over. All 6 Russian ferries destroyed. All 24 armored vehicles lost. Over 320 soldiers killed or missing. Only 4 survivors were recovered, dazed, burned, and unable to speak. But perhaps the most powerful detail was what happened next. Nothing. In Moscow, the Ministry of Defense issued no statement. Russian state media ignored the incident completely, instead broadcasting naval exercises in the Arctic. Behind the scenes, panic spread. Intercepted GRU messages labeled the operation fully compromised. A leaked FSB call revealed one agent saying, "It's like they were waiting for us. We don't even have black boxes." And they were right. Ukraine had been waiting, and it had chosen the perfect moment. The total cost of the Ukrainian ambush? Under $2 million. The value of the drone that started it all? Just 30,000. It didn't fire a single shot. It simply saw. And that was enough. Russia, in contrast, lost over $120 million in hardware. And more importantly, a mechanized detachment meant to support their southern offensive. That one strike caused a 48-hour delay in their advance, a delay that would ripple through every level of their campaign. This wasn't just a battlefield win, it was a new kind of warfare. A $30,000 drone turned into a strategic earthquake, not by brute force, but by clarity, by timing, by knowing when not to shoot until you can end it. General Vashchenko would later say, "You don't need to scare the enemy, you need to remove them." And that's exactly what he did. Modern war is changing. It's no longer about who has the biggest gun, but who watches first and who strikes last. Not a war of tanks and noise, but of patience, precision, and purpose. For Ukraine, this was more than a victory. It was a statement, a warning, a lesson the world is now studying carefully. And for the Kremlin, it was a loss too painful to even admit.